I am Keith Mercado, President of Kemah Merchants Association here in Kemah, Texas. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Just a couple of thank yous that I'd like to get off and running on. Me and Debbie Hart has been out in the community, volunteering our time, hitting as many restaurants and businesses, and doing some free commercials on I-45 Now. I want to thank I-45 Now also for letting us use the airtime. I'm hoping that helps a lot of the businesses here in Kemah and not only maybe get a lot of new faces, but people are actually seeing and getting to know the business owners, which is, I think, is a pretty cool deal also. I would like to get this thing finished in about an hour. Everybody has more meetings. I want to thank Kevin Wynn for joining us. He is a Public Information Officer with the United States Small Business Administration Office of Disaster Assistance. And we also will hear from Charles Abel. He's with the United States Small Business Administration Houston District Office. Thank both of you gentlemen for joining us. I thought we'd start off with the mayor of Kemah, Terry Gale, let her give us an overview of what the businesses are able to do and where we sit starting, I guess it's Friday. Is that correct, Terry?
Yes, it is, Keith. Thank you. As of Monday, when the governor made his latest announcements in his press conference, he did authorize some additional openings. And first of all, I want to report why he did that. The governor's office, including all of the health experts that he has working on his team, have unanimously concluded, they've been gathering data as they said they would do, and they've unanimously concluded that the data supported further reopenings based on the metrics they were seeing. And the two primary metrics that they're seeing, this is relevant to your businesses, are the positivity rate, which is basically the percentage of total tested cases that are turning out to be positive, is declining. So that percentage is declining, meaning as they test greater and greater portions of the population, the proportion of the population that is testing positive for COVID is continuing to decline. So that's a really good thing. They've ramped up a lot of additional testing, and it's much more accessible to people than it originally was. They haven't yet ramped up antibody testing so that you can tell if you already had it, but that is coming. The second thing that they've been tracking is the number of hospitalizations relative to the hospital capacity. So those two metrics have both remained very positive and have continued to support further business openings. So I'm very grateful for all that the business owners have already done to help stop the spread and to continue to operate the best way you can in a safe manner. I think it's important for us to just bear in mind too that as we reopen, those safety factors are still top of mind, but we want to make sure we're aggressive in a safe way, if that makes sense. The governor's initiative also, or his announcements also emphasize that we want to make sure we continue to protect the most vulnerable parts of the population. And that's where your businesses can also participate. So let me answer your question, Keith, with what's opening up, and then I'll just touch on briefly what you can do to help continue to support the safe operation, the stop the spread and protection of the vulnerable population. Effective on Monday, the governor did allow further opening of office buildings so that it was the greater of 10 employees or 25% of the workforce is now allowed to be in office buildings. So you can imagine all the folks that have kids at home now were a little bit jumpy about, okay, how do I balance this with the fact that I don't have any childcare for my kids? So what the governor did allow for also is for childcare services to open. This coming Friday is when a really important milestone in the business openings will occur, which is the restaurants will increase to 50% capacity and the bars will be allowed to be open to 25% capacity. And with that, there's one other important factor, which is there are no capacity limits on outdoor venues, outdoor patios, etc., for restaurants and bars. That was actually something I didn't know before Monday. So I'm pleased to know that all of the capacity limitations that we've had so far are supported by the fact that if a bar or restaurant or a business has an outdoor venue or a courtyard, the capacity limitations do not apply there. That said, we still need to practice safe practices and social distancing, even in those outdoor venues, to the best extent we can. In addition to those businesses, there's a few other things. Drive-in movie theaters, bowling alleys, etc., are now allowed to start opening at 25% capacity. But by the end of the month, if these positive trends in our metrics continue, we'll start to see additional youth camps, summer school, professional sports, and college or amateur level sports being able to open with a limitation on the number of spectators, and again with social distancing in place. So while we're continuing to put health and safety first, we're making sure that we can hopefully bounce back economically as quickly and responsibly as possible. So with that in mind, we want to again make sure that your patrons observe social distancing and safe practices when they do come in to visit your businesses. If you have a store, make sure that to the best extent possible they can distance. If you have a restaurant or a bar, again, the distancing. If you have someone who come in who's in a vulnerable category, and primarily that's age 65 and over, specifically in Galveston County, it's supported by the statistics that is the most vulnerable age group, and most, if not all, of the deaths that we've experienced in Galveston County have been either in that age category or someone with complicating health conditions. So as I approach that age more rapidly than I would like, certainly something I keep in mind. But to the extent that you get a visitor or a patron who appears to be in a vulnerable category, help them with having hand sanitizer on hand, maybe have some extra disposable masks someone can put on when they come into your place of business, and just help them help you stay open and operating in a safe manner. With that, any particular questions for me on any of what I've just announced?
Howard, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Terry?
Yeah, I can now.
So as of right now, and I'm thinking of all the businesses here in Kemah. By Friday, everybody should just basically be open. Is that correct? But it would be the bars would be at 25%, and the restaurants would be at 50% now.
Yes, except for the outdoor venues will be allowed to be at 100% capacity. It's just they need to still practice social distancing. I think the only thing in Kemah that technically will not be open is probably the amusement park portion of the boardwalk.
That's what I was going to ask. Yes, the next thing I'm going to ask is the boardwalk.
But all the restaurants are open, so I would encourage you to keep those boardwalk restaurants on your list of good places to visit, and their shops. And hotels are open as well.
Awesome. Well, Terry, I know you've been out. We just had our little flood here Friday. I know you and Officer Gant, our chief, have been out. Thank y'all for coming by and checking on us. We did get a little water also, but I just wanted to let you know that I really appreciate you, being out there and being seen Is there anything else? I know the city hall got some water. Are they expected to be opening soon, or?
Well, our original target to open was the end of the month, but quite honestly, because of the risk of mildew, which could further complicate respiratory risk for our employees in the portion of, at least a portion of City Hall, we're going to be working with our insurance carrier and our engineers to assess our readiness, and we don't yet know exactly what's going to need to be done in terms of renovation. I do know that the municipal courts will not start operating until June 15th. Our judge has set that date, and they will be in a limited audience and limited number of cases, but the courts will start to ramp up then. And as you know, impaneling juries and bringing people into a congested courtroom, poses a lot of risk. So we're going to be continuing to monitor this and moving as gradually as we need to move. But most everything you need to get done with the city, or that people need to get done with the city, they can do online or through phone calls. If you need a permit, or if you need, something done, information, you can call the City Hall number, which is 281-334-1611. If someone doesn't answer, we'll have voicemail, and your call will be returned. There's a police non-emergency number, as well as the emergency number, and we are trying to minimize the number of people that are collected in City Hall, especially right now with the flooding that has happened. But I do want to remind all the business owners that by the end of the month, we'll be at the start of hurricane season. So the flooding was a good shot over the bow for all of us to make sure that we're prepared with. Make sure your insurance policies are up to date. Make sure that you've addressed any safety precautions for a storm, whether that's a rainstorm with some flooding, or if that's a windstorm, that you know what your vulnerabilities are with your business, and that you have a good contingency plan in place. And if you need advice on that, please don't hesitate to reach out to Chief Walter Gant, who is also our emergency management coordinator, or to myself. When in a disaster situation, I become the emergency management director, which is the equivalent to being dropped into the deep end of the pool. But it is very enlightening, and we want to make sure that our residents, our businesses, our visitors are safe. So if something's coming, we will be visiting the businesses and making sure that you understand what the safety precautions we would like you to take, and that we all do the best we can to make sure our community survives in the best and most safe way possible.
Thank you, Terry. A lot of good information. Yeah, I appreciate it, all the information. Once again, thank Chief Gant for checking on us after that flood. Mr. Meisinger.
Yes, sir. How are you?
President of the Kemah Community Development Corporation. Boy, what a time to get elected, huh? Or get appointed.
Yeah, I planned it. Yeah, I planned it all out like this. It's just perfect. No, it's kind of one of the things that I would want to share with you is we have had a resignation from the board, and we do have an open position right now. We've had several people apply and express interest in the position. We are accepting applications. I believe City Hall is accepting applications through the end of the month, with the hope that the appointment will be made first council meeting of June, and we can have someone in place for the first KCDC meeting in June, or the only KCDC meeting in June, and we can start moving forward there. So, we'll continue to accept applications. We also I'm director at WCID 12. We had a resignation from the board on Monday night, basically due to, the election being moved. He was planning on being out of office in May anyway. So we do have an open position there also. One of the things that I kind of wanted to share and just sort of retouch, when we had tried to do this before, I just want to emphasize the importance of an organization like this and a nice symbiotic relationship between the businesses. I'd stated before during one of the chamber board meetings that we had, there was a business there that was literally on the verge of going under. I mean, this is it. He was making the arrangements, and then through another chamber member received an order that made it the biggest May in the history of his company. So I would continue to, make sure that you're out there connected with the other businesses as you guys all work together. And I know what Keith has been doing lately is really kind of creating that foundation of strengthening the relationship. But, we've got to focus on the business community as a whole. Councilwoman Teresa Evans has asked me to work with her on a task force to rebuild the business community. And I think it's always very important to realize that this includes businesses in the entertainment district. We've got a lot of maritime type businesses over off Anders. So just incorporate everything in Kemah to just give a strong economic base. I do believe we are going to recover from this. I feel we'll recover well. I wish I had some sort of crystal ball that would give me an idea when that's going to happen. But I just want to applaud Keith. I want to applaud, everybody. Saul and I were texting, was it Friday night, Saturday night? Well past midnight, just on things going on in the business community. So communication with the city leaders, communication with one another, it's paramount right now. This is not a time to just go into your store, turn your sign from closed to open, sit down and hope the people pour in. Work together, and we're going to look at different marketing options. There's a lot of great options. You had mentioned I-45 now, that there's no cost involved. Those are the things we need to be exhausting right now, is every single option and people working together. And we want to hear ideas. Any ideas, clearly people have no qualms whatsoever reaching out to me via text or phone. And I don't mind it. Continue to do so. Any idea. There's not a single conversation that's off the table right now. We want to hear anything and everything. Hopefully in June, once we have a full board convened, we can start sort of entertaining some of these different ideas and options. But that's really the thing that I wanted to sort of, share with you as far as where KCDC is at. We'll be back at a full board in June and ready to move forward. Keith, your mask looks like you're talking.
I know, yeah. I'm looking like I'm talking. Nothing's coming out. I'm used to that.
I can see movement on the mask, but I'm not hearing anything.
I'm a DJ, man. I got to hold on. Let me unmute you.
I want to thank you, Doug. I mean, you were instrumental in doing some sign spinnings for the businesses. I mean, your face has been out there. I don't know. A lot of people are in the background, don't get the acknowledgement that they should get. I want to thank you for being out there on the front lines and helping the businesses, because it is tough right now. There's a lot of people. I mean, we're barely getting by, but hopefully we're getting over this. We're starting to, get all the businesses back open and get some more money in our pockets. But that's time will tell.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that, Keith. I wish I had a better face to put out there.
I know. Nobody knows what I look like. I keep a mask on. Thinking about having a mask ball. I don't know. Hey, all right.
I just muted.
When?
I just muted.
Doug, okay. Mr. Wynn, Public Information Officer with the United States Small Business Administration, Office of Disaster Assistance. Thank you for joining us, sir. I guess, there could be a million questions. I'm sure you'll be able to fill some holes for us.
Is he on the call?
Mr. Wynn, are you with us?
I don't see his name.
I'm looking. Hi, this is Charles Abel with the SBA. I'm looking and I don't see Kevin in the
I'll tell you what, we'll come back to Kevin since we got you. Charles, you're with the United States Small Business Administration here in Houston, and you're going to kind of go over some of the PPP program. I've been getting a lot of questions. The biggest question I've been asked is they had heard there is some new literature in this PPP, and we were hoping maybe you could give us some insight on what's going on with this.
Okay. Would it be possible for me to share my slides?
Yeah, sure.
I believe.
If we can get it.
Yeah, I'm currently disabled from sharing, but I can run through my slides and describe them, and you can find them on my website. In the chat section, I posted www.sba.tx/Houston. That's our website.
Okay.
We have these slides on that website, so everybody can go there to download them. But I'm going to go to my other screen and run through my slides real quick. So some things that changed as of May 15th. The SBA has come out with new guidance on the PPP forgiveness process. So everybody at this point should have already contacted their lenders and applied for PPP. Now, if you haven't, I can tell you, you can still find lenders who are doing the PPP loans. So if you were denied at one bank, that doesn't mean that you're not eligible. It just means that you need to find the right lender. Some of the big lenders were trying to do the big accounts, and it, bogged the system. Whereas the community lenders, the smaller banks, the credit unions, they did really well because they were accepting new customers and they could caterize to them. So again, you can go to our website there and you can download the list of government guaranteed lenders and find the right lender that can help you. We have over 200 lenders in our Houston district area. And I just wanted to throw this out. I forgot to start off with, I'm from Clear Lake. I grew up here. So this area means a lot to me. I served 30 years in the U.S. Navy and moved back here in 2015. And then I got the job with the SBA as a public information officer. And I knew I wanted to take care of this area. I love Kemah. I grew up there. So, I'm a local federal employee, not, the guy from DC. So I'm your local point of contact. I'm the guy that you can call all the time. Again, you can go to our website. Our phone number is 713-773-6500. We're in the office every day from 8 to 5, and we are answering calls. You can also email us at houston@sba.gov with all your questions, and we are responding. We have 14 on our staff, and we're all responding to everybody individually because everybody is having difficulty with the EIDL, or what we call EIDL. Everybody's having difficulty with the PPP, and their lenders, or the lenders are having difficulties. So that's what our office is here to do, is to advise everybody on all aspects of this loan process. So these are new times for us. We're learning the law. The CARES Act just came out, 2 months ago, and I'm still learning all the changes that they're making. We have 5 iterations of the interim final rule now, which are available on our website. But it's a lot of law to have to read through and try to understand and interpret. And in our office, we're not lawyers, we're not CPAs, but we do the best we can to advise you where to go to. We do have lawyers and CPAs in this area that can help you, and that's through our SCORE Houston. So it's houston.score.org, and also the University of Houston Small Business Development Centers. And we have the Galveston County Development Small Business Development Center. So these are the people that are set up right now to be able to advise you specifically on, this stuff is like filing taxes. It's not easy. So if I try to do it myself, I would make so many mistakes. So you really need to get some help from somebody else, and all of our assistance is free. So all that information that I just provided to you, I want to make sure that everybody's aware of it. But the PPP loan forgiveness application just came out. And again, it's available through our website. It's 11 pages, and it really looks like filing your taxes. So when you're filing for PPP forgiveness, it's going to look like you're filing for taxes. You have to start with the worksheet, and then you're going to take the information from the worksheet and you're going to apply it to Schedule A. Schedule A is going to take that information, and that's what you apply to the actual application that you apply to your lender. One thing I want to make sure everyone's aware of, that the SBA has the only official document, which is an OMB, Office of Monetary Budget Management. So it's the federal government control number. Our forms have a specific control number. So if you see any form, you should look at the top right and make sure that you see the OMB control number. Now, banks will have their own version of this form because we're trying to simplify the process. We're trying to make it electronic, make it easier for everyone. It's not a TurboTax or anything like that, but you know, the banks are going to try to automate the process. But you want to make sure that the form is the Paycheck Protection Program loan forgiveness application. And by law, they have to follow the SBA standard. But we do have the form on our website, and you can go through it and read through it. I would try to do it right here, right now, but I'm looking at, we're at 10:36, and I don't want to take up another hour of your time trying to help you fill out this form. And there are so many questions. After we do webinars on this every day at 1 p.m. So if you can, go to our website and you'll see our webinar schedule. And our district director, Tim Jeffcoat, he walks you through the process of filling out the form. And we're doing, again, the best we can. We've had over 500 people participating in our webinars, and we do a Q&A at the end. And so we'll go through the Q&A and make sure, you know, we try to answer everybody's questions, because everybody has a unique experience. You could be a sole proprietor. You could be a contractor. You could be a 1099. You could be an employer that has over $2 million in revenue, and you've got to prove for that. So that's the goal, again, is to help you prepare, because there are new restrictions that are coming out that under Safe Harbor, over 2 million will be audited by the SBA and IRS. So we want to prepare you for that process so that you're not, you know, caught off guard. And there are some new safe harbors that have come out that I wanted to talk about real quick. So I'm going to quickly scroll through my PPP slides. In the forgiveness process, some changes that just recently occurred are the safe harbor calculations. So there are situations now where employers are trying to file and they had one number of FTEs on February 15th. So when they did their application, they had one set of numbers. Now, before June 30th, they're going to have a different set of numbers. So there's some safe harbor restrictions, or not restrictions, reduction, protection for the business owners that did have a reduction in their workforce, and you'll still get the 100% of your forgiveness. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that, Charles.
I don't know what happened. Was it me that got kicked out, or?
You can go ahead. We're loading everybody back on.
Okay. Let me back up through my slides real quick. All right, so what we were talking about with the safe harbor, and I wanted to go to another slide. Oh yeah, FTE reduction. Okay. Let's see, safe harbor. Yeah, okay. So I'll go ahead and start presenting again, if that's all right. Keith,
Yeah, go ahead, Charles. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you have now a revision in the rule, and that's why we're doing webinars every day, is because the law keeps changing. It's not that they're changing the law, it's just that they're updating it to make accommodations. So Congress is making revisions to be able to make more people eligible and more forgiveness. So now we have the full-time employee reduction safe harbor. Borrower is exempt from reduction in the loan forgiveness based on FTE employees described above if both of the following conditions are met. So let me talk about the two conditions. And this is where it gets confusing for a lot of people as far as the timeline. But this is the law and this is how it was written. and we're doing the best we can to advise business owners on this. So number one, the borrower is reduced. If the borrower reduced its FTE employee levels in the period beginning February 15, 2020 and ending in April 26, 2020, and the borrower restored its FTE employees levels by not later than June 30th, 2020 to its FTE employee levels in the borrower's pay period that include February 15, 2020. So again, you know, I'm reading this from the slides, and it can be confusing. And that's why if you have a CPA or you have somebody that can legally advise you, it makes it easier to understand all this, because some of the dates have changed. Some of the rehire situations have changed. If you know, so during our webinars, we get a lot of what ifs. What if my employee got pregnant during the 8 weeks and she's not returning to work? So, you know, we address that employers are not going to be penalized for conditions that were, you know, beyond their control. So you will have employees that will not return to work because they feel it's not safe. You're going to have employees that will not return to work because they simply are saying that they're getting more on unemployment. The employer is not going to be penalized for those situations. So again, during our webinar, we go through this 50 slide deck in depth. You can attend our next webinar at 1 p.m. today, and our district director, Tim Jeffcoat, will walk you through the form, you know, how we're filling it out. I will say, I have to make a caveat that the SBA does not endorse Forbes magazine in any way, shape, or form. However, there was a great article written over the weekend by a contributor who went through the forgiveness form application, and he nailed it because he's a tax attorney. So he knows what he's talking about. If you look at the application for forgiveness that you're going to be submitting to your lender, so, you know, you've got to have every blank filled in with a number. And a lot of it is about relying on the business owner being truthful in reporting. So again, the key takeaways are 75% of your forgiveness is based on your payroll. So if you had, you received your PPP and it was 100,000, you're using 75,000 of that for your employees, to pay your employees 100%, not 50%, but you know, you're doing the best you can to retain your employees or keep them at the same level. The other 25% can only be dedicated to mortgage interest. So that's the interest on your mortgage, nothing else. Your rent, whatever you're paying for your building, your storefront, whatever your rent is. If it's land, you can rent land. So whatever the rent or lease is, that is covered. And then we get into utilities. So in our presentation, I'm not going to go into it right now because we're kind of running short on time. I've got another appointment at 11, but payroll, what is payroll? So in our presentation, we break down payroll. We tell you everything that is acceptable: state tax, federal tax, health insurance, benefits, 401k, whatever you're doing with your payroll. Basically, if you use the term compensation, so if I gave my employees a bonus, that's compensation. So those are things to be thinking about. What is payroll? Then we get into talking about the utilities. What are utilities? It's specifically stated by the IRS what utilities are. So the same claims that you would make in your IRS declarations, you're going to be making on this. This is my utility. So if it's utility for transportation, if it's utility for water, gas, trash, whatever it takes to keep your business operating, your utilities, whatever you normally report, that's what we're going to be putting in the PPP forgiveness application. So with that, we're running out of time, and I just wanted to give you guys a couple of seconds if anybody wanted to ask me some quick questions. I know Kevin Wynn wasn't able to be here for the EIDL. I can answer, let me say one thing on the EIDL. Our local Houston office cannot help you determine the status of your EIDL. Only the Office of Disaster Assistance. So that's what Kevin Wynn, my counterpart, does. They're on a completely different system. I can't get into their systems. I can't check anybody's status on loans. I can only check the status on 7A loans, 504 loans, if loans have already been dispersed, undispersed. So for the PPP, I can check on the status of loans. People can call our office for that. If your bank or lender is not responding, I can tell you who your bank and lender is if you went through a third party. But the EIDL is currently only open to agricultural. So what the government is trying to do right now is protect our main interests. So we need agricultural. And so they're focused on assisting everything agricultural so that we can keep the food supply chain going. If there are funds still available as we move along, then they'll open it back up to small businesses again. If you're a small business and you've already submitted your EIDL and you have an application number starting with 22 or 33, you are in the system. If you received a letter stating that you were denied because of cause, if they're telling you your EIDL was denied because of credit, that's something we can help you with. Our resource partners can go over your finances and look at your application and say, okay, well, this is the red flag that caused them not to loan you money. If you were denied because there's some very vague reasons why they're denying right now, I just want to reassure everyone that if you were denied, you still have 6 months to resubmit. And in order to resubmit, you've got to provide new evidence to support what they denied you for. But again, the Office of Disaster Assistance has been denying people for very vague causes. So that's where it's incumbent that you seek advice from one of our mentors, SCORE, SBDC, Women's Business Center. Those are the folks, that can help you get through answering all the questions. And again, I just want to stress, Keith, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. We're in the office every day, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Our number is 713-773-6500. Our email address, houston@sba.gov.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you. There's a lot of insight there, which we will probably all be able to use. Once again, I'm sorry we had a little difficulty when we started, and then we got booted off again here about midway. If you haven't seen me and Debbie Hart, you will. We still have a few places we're going to go and hit and get y'all on TV, so we can help. Hopefully your businesses. I hope we are helping some businesses. I mean, I know we're sure getting a lot of feedback. Once again, Mayor Terry Gale, thank you for everything you've done. Doug Meisinger. Just like Doug said earlier, if we all work together, we'll all make it. And don't feel like you can't reach out to any one of us. If it's the mayor, city council, KCDC, we're all here to help. Whatever you need, please call us. I want to thank my man here, David Alcorn with Nerds to Go, for putting this all together with me. And we'll see y'all for the next meeting. Thank y'all.
Unmute y'all. All right, thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.